oldie but goodie morning, I guess, because what popped in my mind was, slow down, you move too fast, right? Simon and Garfunkel, great song, right, for sure. But if you wonder who you are and what you're really made of, your absolute stillness. Your vibration is a no vibration. Like, good vibrations are awesome. We want good vibrations to get us into the place where we can just slide gently into ourselves, which is that immortal soul, which is simply no vibration. Because it's pure stillness, it's pure spirit, it's pure reality. And it's pure bliss, and it's pure joy. Can you imagine then if some of you have logical minds, you could then say, well, maybe the point of the spiritual path is to quiet down. Quiet down. So I can more align and tune with that which is perfectly motionless within me. Yogananda said, spirit begins when motion ceases. Heaven will open up for you. You'll see the beauty of the one smile of God in a flower. And of course, in your baby's eyes, I know that most of you can almost tell. You can see the beloved there. But maybe not in the scenes that aren't so pretty, right? But in all scenes, pretty or not, that one beloved is ever smiling at you. And the more that we can slow down, and yogis take it much further, they teach you the art of slowing down. Not just in what you think is slowing down, but slowing down your breath. Slowing down the amount of beats that your heart make per minute until everything is calmer and calmer. And even in a calmer state than we're normally in, you'll feel presence. You'll feel presence. And the deeper you go in the calmness, the more presence you feel. The more you enjoy silence and stillness and just time where you can just, no, please, do not disturb me right now, world, people. I mean, there is a point to, the iPhones and all that stuff. There is a point that we have to be ourselves before we can train the young people. Being in the ashram, it wasn't that I didn't even know what was happening because I'd go visit my folks, and my sister's kids were kind of young, getting to that teenage year, and I didn't know what the heck they were doing at the dinner table. They kept looking down. And I go, what are they contemplating something? I didn't know for so long why that's what they did the whole dinner. Because they're texting. They were texting. And you try to pull that iPhone away from a young one. Or should I say, pull it away from yourself. Just have a little time out. Do not disturb, I'm disturbed already. Look, so I don't need any more outside influence coming in on me, right? It's like you could go to any one of the bridge right down here at Requiesa and just look down at the cars, zoom by. And if you were standing on the edge of the freeway, they would probably see, a pedestrian, because it's unusual to see a pedestrian, but boom, there they go, just like a flash. 55, 65 miles an hour is pretty fast. But if you were, where they really race cars and stuff like that, where they go in the hundreds, then you can go, then you're really a blur there, right? And then the faster that things go, then it's not even, you don't even see anything. You don't see a motionless object. And so it is with this brilliant, all-intuitive, all-knowing soul that you have. When you are racing along life, it can't cognize and give you the experience of who you are. Because you're just a blur. Hafiz said it this way. He said, this picture, God's holding a big picture of unlimited joy and bliss, and he's pouring it down. Just pouring it down. And then Hafiz goes on to say, and we are the cup. But he says, God can't hit a moving cup. I mean, he could, because God can do anything, right? But it wouldn't matter, because that would all spill out of you because you're moving too fast. You can't contain it. So then just imagine for a moment, just resting yourself right where you are now, relaxing from feeling there's anything to do, anything to learn, please don't be here to learn anything. You don't need to learn anything. You need to de-learn, right? If you want to be a student of joy and a student of happiness, my friends, there's no room in there for the real stuff to come in if you think you know something. So we want to just empty the cup, and then just place it still there. And then start to believe, because belief is a very huge thing. Believe that in an instant, when you slow down, there is instant presence as well. Right? And there was this man, he came from Russia years ago, and he went into his first big supermarket here, and he was going around, and he kept seeing things like instant applesauce and instant this and instant that, and he came to that aisle that had the baby powder, and he went, oh my God, what a country. Instant baby. We're pretty an instant society, aren't we? Right? That's because you have to eat on the go. You have to drink on the go. Some of us even stand up while we eat at home. Don't look at me. There's a chair, my wife says. Why don't you sit down and eat, right? I'm usually so hungry when I get home that I've already eaten most of my food just getting it out of the refrigerator. But there really is something to slowing down, you know? I mean, someday you think you'll be forced to? You know, my wife had a temperature for 5 days. She slowed down, right? The next time that you get something that slows you down, what is the one message of that? Slow down, you move too fast. Come on, I want to pour some love into you. You know, I want to give you a supercharge. I want you to begin to know that I am your love. And you are my love, and really we're one love. That's really what I want. And you know what we don't see on this end of it? How bad God wants you. God, Source, Divine Mother, the infinite love. How much it wants you. It made love. It made it. It knows all about you. It made humans too. So don't think that you need to hide something from that brilliant light. I know it's bright sometimes, and I know it's more comfortable and easy just to hang out in the dark places, and when you feel better, you come into the light, maybe dabble a little in the light, and then most of the time you're kind of maybe in gray, right, in your comfort zone. And it's not gonna make it anymore. It's not gonna make it in 2013. And the Mayans, you know, there's still some holdouts in those elders that say, you know, it still isn't over. You know, because there's lots of those people that say it was in December, it was in February, but some are holding out till this equinox, Friday night. So you got to Friday. To snap into place, baby, to snap into place, to snap into place, to snap into place, to snap into place. You know, if you wait till you're prepared to snap into place, sorry. All the opportunities that you'll see when you have left this carcass, so to speak, you'll see all those, there too, Lord. Okay. Okay. You will see all those opportunities where there was like almost this golden hand that was reaching out and say, if you just come with me now, don't tell me later. Don't tell me you're going to be better off later. Don't tell me that this thing you have to do before me. I'm the one who made you. How many of you, when you buy something new, or it's a car or something mechanic or anything, do you love to find out how it was made? Is there any of you in that room? I mean, you kind of like want to know if it's really well made, right? Well, that's why there's so few seekers after God. There was one person who raised his hand that will go with the physical universe and say, I want to know, like Einstein, how this thing was made. I want to see what makes it tick. So there's one person in here that really wants to investigate this gift of life, this miracle of life. Most of us just want it right now. We take it for granted. You know, we gobble up the food, and I'm one of those, and not even realize that the light, you know, the elements, Source gave me that food. And sometimes it's even cooked through someone who's really aware of that. And boy, does it taste good when someone cooks with love, right? And you know when food doesn't taste good, when it should taste good, because maybe someone was cooking and they were angry. Maybe they were worried, you know. Maybe they were in an argument. That's why moms who are holding these little babies in their belly, man, oh man, that baby's drinking right from you, right? It's another way God wants us to snap into shape. If all of a sudden you find yourself pregnant, you know, carrying another life. And carrying another life in you, right? Carrying another life. Guys, it may be for us, you know, we're active, you know, we got a good career going, or we're sports oriented, all of a sudden we have an injury, right? Or we get fired or something. That'd be the same thing. It's just that shock of God's just saying, hello, what's it all about, Alfie? You know, what's it all about, Alfie? One of these days, this whole sermon could just be song titles. That would be very creative, wouldn't it? It could be easily put together. You know what happened, though, on this last immersion in love? And, you know, we mentioned immersion in love. And Marcia is right. There's no way to describe it. We know way. And the reason I know that you're not there is because you're going too fast, kid. You still think you have time. You still think that there's going to be a tomorrow. You know, you still think when the ducks are in the road, then yeah, I would love to. I would love to go to an immersion in love, right? And the reason why that maybe some of you are still putting it off, and I'm not just saying come to that where we're doing this thing, because you are already immersed in infinite love. If you could give it a little time to find out where you were made and who made you, you would realize, OMG. I am pure love, baby, you know. That'd be a cute t-shirt for your little kid, right? I'm pure love, baby. I'm a pure love baby. And then we adults should have a shirt like that. But we have the best group of men who showed up in this immersion in love recently, right? And you know the beautiful thing about it? We have 2 contractors in there. So usually you associate contractors with, you know, on the job, have a beer, talk with the guys and this and that, hammer the nails and whatever. And I mean, they're men's men. They're guys, you know, they're guys. Oh my, OMG, you should see what these guys are doing over there. Oh, but you know what? Ladies, you don't have to worry anymore. The men are charging it. Yeah. We are charging it. We are charging it. And what are we charging? We're charging into here. We're not charging outside anymore, because a lot of these guys have been beat up. We have all been beat up pretty good, and we realize, well, maybe there's a learning there. Maybe I've been putting all my energy into something that isn't going to get close to giving me anything near that I'm really seeking. But what if I take that energy and I seek within, especially my heart, with patience? With that same kind of whatever who I am, but with patience, so that I could at least feel how many breaths I'm breathing in a minute, how many ticks are ticking, and just put my attention on that for starters and say, wait a minute, maybe every time there's a tick and every time there's a breath, I'm breathing in this universal love. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Where does this faith thing really stop for you guys? When and where? You don't want to know. Don't answer that. Rather, take a breath right now and breathe in love. That would be much more suited for you guys if you could just do that and not think about anything anymore. Just take a big breath. Or receive a big breath, because you can't take a breath. You can only receive a big breath. And you can put your hands on your heart. What's stopping you? This is the most precious place in the universe, is inside your hearts. And it's even uncomfortable maybe for some of you to do that, because maybe some of you don't like to be told to do that. Maybe you'll do it on your own later. That's fine too. Right? But where is it going to begin for you? And where is faith going to get more developed for you? You know, how many doubts are still sabotaging your life? Because doubts do that. How can you doubt being made of the genuine material of universal love, huh? How can you doubt that as a daughter and son of the infinite light? How can you keep doubting that, right? How can you doubt that your mission isn't to know yourself completely and fully and to be so out of the way? As Yogananda said, I killed Yogananda years ago. And that's why he is so great. And that's why the great ones are so great, because the little ego has surrendered into its real self, the high self. And now it's just this shining, 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 shining soul expression of creativity and art and music and new ways of saying things and new ways of expressing the truth. It's just ever new, ever new, ever new. You are outdated as of a minute ago. All of us are outdated as to a minute ago. You don't realize the downloads that are coming in or hoping to come into this still cup of yours. You would know that the consciousness that I'm really not holding a minute ago, because it's not my consciousness, I'm just a receiver, right? But some people will say that they're their thoughts and all that stuff, is like gone. It's gone in a new moment, and something ever new is right here, right now for me. So if some of you are that way with your computer, remind me later with the updates, don't let that happen with your consciousness. So if God's knocking on the door of your heart today and you hear us talk about this immersion in love, if there was a way that I could help you to realize, to help you to help yourself, well, I will do it, and I am doing it. And I would not for the life of me put off this divine calling that each soul has on this planet. I mean, so what if you don't think so good about it, or yourself, or you feel you can still procrastinate? So that's fine. But you are the world. Come on. You are the world. If anything you see in the world news that gets you in here and just wrings that heart, and if you allow it, you can go into deep grief, right? And you can say something's seriously wrong here, and you can point outward from yourself and say something's got to be done about this. Or you can feel the pain that people are in right now, your brothers and sisters. So many you don't even want to know, in serious pain, in serious hunger, in serious tragedy. I mean, the worst case, that if it happened to you or me, we would be kind of numb for maybe the rest of our lives. Why don't you turn the finger back into yourself and say, oh, my heart. It's a beautiful affirmation. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. I can't treat you like this anymore. It's not out there. If you need a good lesson there, see the movie Kung Fu Panda, you know? Where his guru, the panda, overweight, you know, this guy knew nothing about martial arts, come to this, you know, this Zen place of martial artists and wants to learn it, karate, whatever it was, and the teacher there said, are you kidding me? And then he says in one scene of the movie, he says, Panda, the day you arrived in this ashram was the worst day of my life. I can't even describe to you how horrible was the feeling. Then he goes, and then he said, but I realized, Panda, that it's not you, it was in me. And that now I feel that the universe is this inner peace, and now I can flow with that inner peace. I'm in tune with that inner peace. And then Panda says something like, oh, I'm feeling some inner peace right now. I'm feeling warm. I'm going down with this inner peace. You know? This is a 40-second little clip from a movie that can change your life. When you realize, you know, who are you making wrong? And I think really the number one target is you. A lot of you pay big bucks for your treatments and your therapies and whatever else you're doing. Have you wondered if you might want to go to your soul first? The God in you? Hello, he's saying, hello, darling, just turn this way and this wave from a distance, and you'll get more help than you can from anything else outside of yourself. Just wave at a distance. Just acknowledge me. I'll shed a bucket of tears if you just acknowledge me. Honey, it's been maybe a couple lifetimes since you even cared about me. Or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40. And now you've been hearing things and things warm your heart and such. But come on. Come on. I don't like this love at a distance, God says to us. I don't like this idea that you're still holding out when you don't need to hold out. What are you holding out for? God's saying, you're mine. I made you. I only want you to experience my bliss and love. But you have to make the initiative. That's the reason this creation is the way it is. You might say, well, why doesn't God just pull me into himself? Because he loves you too much for that. He made you and gave you a separate kind of free will thing so that you could choose to love love. Oh my God. God gets totally off when someone chooses to love God and give love freely and unselfishly and consistently until it's the only motive. As Rumi says, he says, lovers of Source have a sacred decree. They have a sacred pact. And that is that they roll heads over heels and rush to the beloved like a torrent of water rushing towards the sea. And that's what our soul is. It's just on fire for union. For union. The real union that lasts forever and forever in ecstatic bliss. Ecstatic bliss forever and forever. Right? And you might think, well, inner peace sounds good to me, and I'll work on it, and I'll stare at my candle when I go home tonight. Good luck. Good luck that has anything other than your full heart in it, my friends. I've started over meditation hundreds of times. I've taken the techniques and say, I'm going to put you aside. If they're not waking my heart, I'm going to do something. I'll practice CPR, which is core purpose resuscitated on myself. You know, I will cry to God with every time I press into my heart. I'm doing it all. Everything's gone if it doesn't bring me right into this heads over heels devotion for the one. You see? You see what initiative that we need to put in place before Friday? So I know why we don't show up. Most of us will show up when we're feeling kind of okay. The time to show up when you're feeling like hell. When you just got word that someone doesn't love you anymore. When you just found out you get a call that your loved one just was in a car accident. Once you take care of the common sense business on that, you run into the arms of love. You run into your own soul. You run into a place that holds such what we call SFFs. Soul friends forever. Right? And you run there and you crawl there. Especially, guys, especially when you're in pain. Especially. Sometimes we don't see you for 3 or 4 or 5 months or something. And yeah, you have the reason that someone died in your family, but then they're dead. They already died 6 months ago. Where have you been? We have this beautiful woman in our immersion right now who came with her husband and her 2 boys. Her 2 boys have done this 2 times, right? And she's on her 4th immersion, and she came with her husband and the 2 boys 2 days after her husband's father committed suicide. Because he said, I need that place really bad right now. And I think it's the greatest thing that I can do for my dad's soul is to be in the light. And he's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because that soul is seeking light. We are seeking light. We are seeking love, whether your little mind, ego, personality says, yeah, I kind of am, or I've been hurt. That doesn't matter. You're made of spirit. Nothing's going to change that. Nothing can change that. You can't change that. Why are you holding out? Because we have so much joy to share with you. That's all. We don't care about anything else. We don't even know each other's names. We don't care. When people come in, before they come in the door, we tell them to take their backpacks off or their knapsacks off. And they go, what do you mean? I don't have a nap. Oh, yeah, you do. Take it off. Take off the stuff you're bringing in here. Leave it out in the planner. Divine Mother will take care of it on Sunday or Monday, depending if you do the 3 or 5 day immersion. And some of you have been around a long time here, and I haven't seen you in one workshop or retreat or something that dives deeper. Not one. And I know you know that it's more than doing poses on the floor, what we're about here. I know you know that by now. What's stopping you? And if you want to pick up that knapsack when you leave on Sunday, go ahead and pick it back up. Be miserable, you know? Carry that heavy heart. Carry the heavy load. How much sympathy are you getting these days from your stories? Huh? Not much. It's kind of old. You know, when I came out of the ashram, you know, I was so inculcated. Good news is with Yogananda. And that's why I'm as happy as I am today and happier than ever before, and a special dispensation from him to say, go out of the ashram, we need you, and what you're going to do. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But I was so inculcated with the outer culture. And I started to go to workshops. I had to go, God, I was freaky, fearful walking into another space that wasn't an SRF space, and they're doing something different than what I had been brought up in for 25 plus years, right? And my first one was with Landmark Forum. Have you been there? Yeah. So we did the first one, and it was like, whoa. There's a lot of truth here that I haven't looked at. Then we signed up, Trish and I, for the advanced Landmark. And in the advanced, they told us to do this one night. They said, write down your story. And I was like, cool. Everyone loved that first part. So we wrote and we wrote and we wrote, and they gave us a whole bunch of time on it. They said, okay, now pair up with somebody and then share your stories. So it's cool, right? Because you're just like, wow, someone's going to listen now. They're going to actually, they have to listen. They're in this workshop, so they're going to listen. Then you shared stories, and they say, now pick someone else. Share your story. We went for 2.5 hours. Late into the darn night, telling the same story until we were sick of it. So that worked. That was brilliant. There's a lot of brilliant things around. A lot of brilliant things around, but the most brilliant of all is anything that's going to have you come home. You're going to come home, and here is home, right here. My dear, this is the centerpiece where the Divine Beloved lives. The same Divine Beloved that's in every rock, in every star, in every terrorist, in every pope, in every good person, career, everything is the one beloved you're seeking. But most importantly, that won't even be anywhere near where you put your attention if you don't seek here first. This is where we have to go home, and rather quickly too. So I'll end with this idea that Yogananda gives me, and gives all of those who have read his SRF lessons. And on lesson 4, you know, I was 19 when the first lesson came to my door in Santa Barbara in Isla Vista, baby. It's not a party town. It's not like what they said. No, it's like constant drugs. It's like constant everything, right? But I found God there. I did when that bank was burning. When that Bank of America was going down and the martial arts came in, the paddy wagons, and the place was just a war zone, I found God. I found my guru. But I remember signing up for those SRF lessons because I thought, there it is. Because I recognized Yogananda instantly when I just held the book. It took me maybe 3 years to read the autobiography of a yogi. Some people read it in a short time. I couldn't. I'd read, I just can't go on, and I got enough in my heart right now. But I remember I couldn't believe that truth was going to come to my door in Isla Vista. Do you see how the faith factor works, my friends? Do you? Huh? To me, it was like, I'm going to be liberated through these teachings. I can't believe that they're coming to my door. And when that first one came, I was all over it. And the second one, and went through that series up to this day, 40-something years later, I am all over it. Or should I say, God's all over me. But when that fourth one came, it talked all about divine friendship. All about soul friendship, SFF. It didn't use SFF. We kind of use that. Soul friendship forever. And this is the way Yogananda puts it. That if there's anybody in your life that you have a special affinity in your heart for, that there's something deeper than just the self-centered relationship. what I want from you and what you want from me. If there's something there that you could just be friends and be cool with it, and then not expect, if you do something for them, that they need to do something for you. If there's something deeper, he says, you have got to keep going to nurture that relationship, because there's a chance that in this life again, because this is someone you knew before, that is back in your life, and you've had some many experiences with them, and you're working, whether conscious or not, on a divine relationship with them. Nurture it. He called these people soul stars. When you see a soul, and sometimes we don't recognize each other because we're moving too fast, you see. But I'll tell you, everyone, 20-something people in this immersion in love that we're having, we've slowed down to such a point through God's grace because we were just willing to put our hands on our heart and take a breath and say, God loves me, for starters, right? We now see each other as, oh my God, that's a soul friend. That's a soul friend for many lives. And some of us have had some intuitions that that soul friend has had my back, and vice versa for many lives. And not only that, but we've been working and being in tune with the divine plan and we've been in monasteries together. We've served God wherever on the battlefield. We've done all of that together. And there's a sense of loyalty. There's a sense of, are you kidding me? You mean we go so far back and we're still friends? You mean that you've done all this and I've done all of that? I bow to you. I have not seen that in just my little running around relationships. I didn't even know there could be such loyalty. This is the kind of loyalty that you make these epic movies in Hollywood about. So he goes on to say, now start collecting your soul stars, one after another. You seek out these people. Slow down and know that every set of eyes you look at could be someone who is that loyal friend from the past, where you're both serving this divine purpose to help liberate each other and this entire world together back home in the spirit. That could be someone. Are you kidding me? That's why the holy ones come down like the Yoganandas and such, and they have a circle around them. Like, yes, Yogananda had the Sri Dayamata, the 17-year-old, and the 15-year-old, and a whole little inner core circle that have been in the trenches with that divine teacher for lifetimes, and they came back together to finish the mission or to move the mission along. And in our little ways, it's the same way, my friends. A soul star is what you want to collect. And Yogananda says, collect so many that you end up with a galaxy of them. A galaxy, because everyone is our brother and sister anyway, so that's not hard to do. He said, if you can be a soul friend to one person, you will know God. You will not know God until you can be an unconditional, loyal, true, unselfish, soulful friend to one other human being, for starters. So let's get busy and find that one and really make it special and be the most loving, kind, generous, unconditional, loyal friend to that person. That's going to open the door. That's going to crack it open, because then you're going to realize that God's in her heart, in his heart, and that heart is one with all hearts, and we can have that galaxy of divine friends. We can have this collective consciousness, really, of high vibrational beings that can express spirit, so we can literally change this world. Not by changing it looking out, but by changing it, raising our vibration. We can literally change this world, so your children and your grandchildren don't have to go through what you're looking at out here. So it's endless divine possibilities. Now what you know, it's who you know. When you're co-creating with God, God can, like that, done. And when you have that undaunted faith that you're a daughter of God, whatever you ask him, he gives you immediately. Done. We can change this world by changing ourselves, first and foremost. So if you have one prayer, ask for God's divine consciousness. Ask for conscious. Don't ask for things. Don't ask for your life to be different. Don't ask to heal the sick and to give food to the poor. You ask God for his divine consciousness, and all that will happen because you'll be in tune. So finally, galaxy of friends. Then he said at the end of this lesson, in that galaxy of soul stars, the one beloved, the face of the one beloved will appear. The one beloved of all soul stars. The one that's really in the mini. the one who created us all. You'll see that divine face once your heart has expanded and now not so exclusive but all-inclusive, and start to bring everything into this God heart of yours. Let's end by putting our hands on it. Beautiful.